Hey everyone, welcome to Served. JW in the house, Techie Sean, producer Mike. We're going to do a little Racket Rundown brought to you by Wilson off the top. And then we got some storylines that are going to head into Wimbledon. Gosh, guys, and then we got to get that all in. No predictions yet because draw show coming Friday. So we'll run through kind of some headlines, some storylines before we get to the relevancy of the draw show at Wimbledon. Guys, something weird happened this week. You ready? Something crazy. Couldn't even believe it. Weirdest thing that's ever happened. Carlos Alcaraz won a tennis tournament.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know. On a surface that's not hard.
And,
crazy,
you know,
right?
he 4 grass court titles now for his career. That's as many as Nadal. You guys are old enough to remember when there was a Netflix documentary and one of the themes was how uneven Carlos Alcaraz was, slumping a little bit. Where was his focus? Been pretty good the last 6 weeks or so, hasn't he?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear anyone whining about Ibiza this year.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite one, my favorite Carlos Alcaraz, because like you can kind of see that he's when he wins, he kind of feels like he can like say more stuff and get away with more stuff. He's not as like, you know, he doesn't have to be like Roger or Rafa. Like he can actually get away with saying something. I love it. So he went to Ibiza for like 3 days. He goes, yeah, but I only took it super deep one night. I was like, it's so good. I only got really messed up one night. This is discipline. This is a new Carlos. This isn't the same Carlos as last year. But like, okay, let's just go through it. Like, it's almost to the point where I want to guard against this is when someone is so outstanding and I haven't gotten over the Roland Garros respect hangover of that match, and I don't know that I ever will in this lifetime, but it still looms very large for me, the Alcaraz Sinner final. You go to Ibiza, which, by the way, if I could go back in time, apparently, if I wanted to win Wimbledon, I would just go rip it for 2 days there, and then all my problems would have been solved. Well, that and being an otherworldly talent. But comes back, shows up at Queen's, has one kind of dicey match against Munar where you felt like he was kind of looking for energy. And then once he hits that stride and that flow state, even against Lehečka, by the way, played a phenomenal match in the final. It was one of those ones where it was like operation successful, but the patient dies. Like it was phenomenal. It's everything he had to do to try to disrupt Carlos, but the guy's just in full flight. And I think the most impressive thing about it, and even Rafa had to work at it and be a little bit more intentional about this than Carlos does going from clay to grass. Save the comments. I'm not saying he's better than Rafa. I'm not saying all these things. I'm just saying the game and his ability to, on clay, you have to take different angles to the ball, right? You normally have to backtrack, then go in. The lines that he takes to the ball are never wrong. Like if he wants to cut one off, it's like Roger-esque, right? Roger on his forehand never took a bad angle or a bad line to the ball in stride. He's able to read the pacing, adjust his footwork, and then either transition off the forehand in or not. And he reads all of that in half a second, right? And he is so good about his angles to the ball. You never really see that awkward grass court out of position that you see with the rest of us chuckers, right? Like even Sinner, you feel like is finding that, like when to take the line, when to take it on, when to go back. And that's a normal process for anyone. I'm so impressed with like, I go on vacation, I come back, and then by the second match, I'm already taking the correct line and choosing the right shot on grass every time.
Wait, now that you've opened the door, let's keep going there. Because I think that's a really good point. I think we sort of gloss over sometimes, they change shoes. And when you make that transition from red to green, from clay to grass, the ball bounces differently. Say more about what this transition entails and what does it entail? I mean, strategically, it's obviously the points are going to play different. I suspect when you're thinking about where to serve, it's a different decision. Keep going. Say more about what it entails when we talk about this summer transition.
Yeah. So this is coming from a place where my knowledge base is like, I felt relief when I got to grass because it made more sense. Like I didn't have to think about, shot profiles as much. I didn't think about how to like overcome my power getting mitigated. Everything kind of came back to me, right? The chip worked a little bit. I didn't have to, I could hide my back end easier. But obviously you look at the winners this week, Bublik, Vondroušová, Kessler, every ball, the ball flight is instantly represented. Medvedev is automatically better because he has that flat ball flight through the back of the court, right? I think the biggest thing that no one talks about is the best players in the world on grass are able to identify the ball to get forward on, and they know that they're going in before they hit that shot. But it could be mid-rally, right? Like Carlos can settle in, hit a chip back in, he has that little crouching thing that Ferrer used to do on the grass. He just hits it bigger and better. But the ability to kind of turn a point at a moment's notice, whereas Clay, it's more of like a 2 or 3, 4 shot process into a grind. Like you can turn defense into offense. And if you think about like Roger will hit a chip back in, you don't hit one perfectly. It's almost like a half miss where against most of the field, you can get away with it, but then he's on you with that forehand. And if he hits it well, you know that he's going to be 4 feet from the net. Right. And so it's that quick pressure set. It's not the slow build of like earning the point with Clay. You can steal points on grass. It's more of like a theft mentality. Now they're sliding into balls more on grass, which is something that we didn't do, but putting the premium when you're on defense on the strike and not height, right? And on the slower surfaces, when you're kind of beat, you'll try to find some air and get it out of a pocket. That doesn't work as well on grass because the pocket doesn't really exist and it's more of a thud type bounce. Venus and Serena were great at this. They would hit their way out of trouble on D and almost give up time on the next ball and put the priority on pace of shot, right? So like you're kind of beat to the forehand corner, but you can get a good swing on it. They would hit the ball like through deep, wherever it was, and sacrifice. If someone picked it off perfectly, then they were cooked. But more often than not, they were going to find themselves and beat the person with pace and sacrifice that time back. You would never do that on a slower court, right? You would try to find the height and give yourself time to kind of restart. And then you get to serving. Spins matter more. You saw Carlos, going with the slice serve more and more, abandoning the kick serve because it doesn't get up and away. So basically the way you set your table on your serve completely changes. You run them more in on the body where you try to get someone to kind of get that T-Rex return, and then you're up on the second ball a little bit more. So it's just a quicker mentality where you can steal points in a quicker fashion if you're aware, rather than height, spin, extending the court like you can on a clay court. Mike?
How much is it that, younger players are getting access to these surface types that are closer to what they're actually playing on in all these different areas, globally than they were, say, when you were coming up? Definitely more so than the previous generations, but
yeah.
How much is it just they actually get to get on these surfaces more often based on facilities?
Well, I don't know is the answer to that, because I don't know, who has what grass court in Europe, wherever. I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that it's now about angles, awareness, whereas it used to almost be, okay, I'm going Borg, where I haven't come in 6 weeks going into the French Open, and now I'm serving and volleying on every ball because you had to, right? Because the surface was lower, it was quicker, the grass wasn't quite as good. The technologies and how to keep grasses and use different grasses, and you get a truer bounce. So it's not as if you have to go and you're going full Lendl, where at the end of his career, he wanted to win Wimbledon so badly that he would skip the French some years to work on serving and volleying. You do not have to serve and volley to win Wimbledon, right? And that probably changed post Pete Sampras, with the exception of our guy Agassi, right? Maybe a little bit of Borg sprinkled in, but Borg would still serve and volley 80% of the time on grass. Like, he switched it completely. So I think the transition is earlier just because it's not like you're going from one very specific skill set and having to completely renovate your home to another very specific skill set in 3 days, right? I think it's different, but Carlos is still not serving and volleying. He mixes it in, and he's brilliant when he does it. And I think he's a better volleyer on grass than any other surface because he can hit those kind of dump volleys a la Borg. That's probably the comp that I look to most with him. But I don't know I don't know about access. I can't speak to that, but I just think you can stay back a little bit more on grass. So it's adjustments and not a wholesale change when people hit the ground running as opposed to 20 or 25 years ago. We'll dive a little deeper with the Chuckster in a little bit. Is this RIP to the Hamburglar outfit? Because there's no way he can wear that at Wimbledon. Is he done? I mean, he had a pretty good run with it.
It's I thought he was Foot Locker attendant. Yeah, we forget that's not going to pass. As
Sinner's Luigi outfit's retired also.
That's it. I wonder if Nike just goes full passive aggressive and throws a grimace, just all purple out there for the Open or something. Let's stick with the theme. Let's get a partnership. I know Carlos is really struggling for endorsement opportunities these days. So let's also talk about Alex Bublik, right? 83, 87 in the world, something like that, post Indian Wells, in the theme with Ibiza, goes to Vegas, rips it for a couple days, makes the final of a Scottsdale Challenger, and kind of turns his year around. And let's talk about the value of dropping down a level to make your way back up. Like wins a Challenger, I think it was in Turin, maybe, it's somewhere there, before Roland Garros, makes quarters on what has been his worst and least favorite surface, continues it in Halle. Man, the guy, if you can get him mentally engaged, which has been a big if over the course of his career, and he would admit that, but the bag of tricks that he has on grass, he thumps first and second serves. You don't know if the second serve's coming in at 87 or if it's coming in at 122. You don't know if he's hitting a drop shot or if he's coming out of his shoes and it's flat to the corners. And he did a great job. We talked about earlier, he would have a ground stroke and you could tell he would hit and then deal with the consequence later at net. And he's talented enough to, even if he doesn't stick the approach perfectly, he can kind of react and be athletic and fight off first volley into a second volley combo. But this guy's playing. I mean, it's just really fun to watch. I mean, his first set against Hachinov in the semis of Halle after beating Sinner, he hit 11 drop shots, 6 underhand this is slight exaggeration, only slight. It honestly looked like he was playing a game of horse for those basketball lovers who would play this game in their backyard. But fun to watch, and it just shows you, like, if you can go from like a famine to a feast mentally, it changes everything. And my old coach Larry Stefanke, who's brilliant coach, he would always tell me, because I was like a hyper emotional guy and everything was either the worst or it was great. He goes, it's never as good as it seems and it's never as bad as it seems. And I think the latest example of that is Bublik.
Felt like a life lesson in addition to tennis. Did you guys catch, I think it was in the semis when he served underhand and it was a let. And then he went right back. He went right back to the drawing board. He called the same play again. No, I mean, this has always been someone talented. And it's always kind of been this conversation of, dangerous on a day. Is he ever going to put it together? He comes out of Roland Garros, gets, great run, beats quality players, wins these 5-setters, not a guy, not a foxhole guy necessarily. And yet he outgrinds 2 top 10 players in 5 sets, loses to Sinner, comes right back at the subsequent event, beats Sinner. And then he puts on Instagram, like, I got him, boys. And now he goes to a surface where he's way better on grass than on clay. His confidence is swollen. He's going to get that top 30 seed. He's going to be a seeded player now. Danger. And it's fun to watch too. I mean, you can't not like the guy. Usually when players kind of are hit and miss and underachieve sometimes, we say to ourselves, like, boy, I wish it's a pity they can't put it together. Part of being a professional is doing this 52 weeks a year. In this case, it's just kind of fun to watch the inconsistency, and if that's part of the deal, so be it.
Yeah, it is, and I think Sean's about to have an aneurysm because you just went dark with the sunlight in the back of your office.
This is my office. Watch what I'm going to do here. See if we can trigger it. All right. Be right back.
Wait, did his motion sensor just go off? Yes.
I saw my favorite part. We're not even going to edit this. My favorite part was I could see Sean on the bottom left. I have like 4 squares where I got like Mike, and then they set up this nice little situation here. And I saw Wertheim just go dark in the middle because it was just sunlight, and I see Sean start shifting around in his chair, like popping up and down.
Getting attacked. I need to be more animated in my responses, and the motion detected lights will not figure out
JW, maybe we'll get you a ring light, bud.
Yeah, let's not get carried. Honestly, I'd be disappointed if his setup was seamless.
This is part of the appeal.
Yeah, like my favorite. I get joy weekly out of his setup. I mean, you haven't really freaked out recently, but it's been probably you guys are apparently our production team's doing a better job
because Sean is earning his keep. Exactly.
Normally we're about to sign on and it's 15 minutes before and we're getting kind of trading notes and how the show's going to go, and it literally sounds like someone's moving furniture downstairs.
Wait till we're gonna do this in Ibiza next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait till I do this from my room in Ibiza.
Yeah, but I'll also say, you know who's happy that Bublik won this week in Halle? Every top player that doesn't have the potential of playing him in the first 2 rounds of Wimbledon now.
Yeah.
Moves snuck into the seeding. That is not. I'm sorry. If I'm seeded 4 at Wimbledon, and this guy who you could make the case right now, I'm not saying all time, I'm not saying right now, he's one of the top 10 players on grass. Like right now.
Totally.
Like he's got it. He knows how to play. It makes sense to him. The whole thing. If I'm 4, I don't want to see him. I'm happy that he's somewhere else and we're at least protected. No one's going to want to play him in the 3rd round. I'll tell you that much right now. But being Bublik, who knows? He maybe goes out and lays an egg first round. I don't know. But fun to watch. Endlessly entertaining. The point you were referring to earlier, JW, for context, hits a serve, underhand serve, which he pulls out 3 times a match now. It's like it actually is a strategy. Hits the underhand serve, let cord, and then is about to serve again, and the crowd starts going, kind of like like, do it again. And he kind of gets the smile, does it again. There's no mysteries. Hatchinoff knows it's coming. Hits his approach shot, and the guy passes him. Bublik wins the point anyway. It was great theater. But anyways, props to him. On top of all of the extracurriculars of a Bublik match, the guy's legit, playing on grass, moving well, mentally engaged. I think he's played himself into good shape. Maybe not always the case, but if you get enough reps and enough matches, it kind of magically does it for you. I think Medvedev is a factor. Him getting the final of a Halle was something that was needed. I thought he played great. Our guy Yuri Lehechka, who I liked at the beginning of the year, played a great match, had a great run, is a legit grass court player, has that pop serve, knows when to come in, can flatten out the backhand, takes backhand from middle of the court when he's moving left and plays it inside out. Caught Draper a bunch down the stretch with that shot, which is an awkward one to have to cover because it's just not a natural instinct to have to cover that ball. But played a great match against Carlos. Went big on second serves when he had to, kind of played random, which you can't give Carlos rhythm. So he's another one that no one's going to want to see at Wimbledon. One of the most fun stories of the week, like we understand Carlos and we understand Bublik, and I don't think either of those results were shocking. Vondroušová.
Ooh.
In Berlin. Wins Wimbledon 2 years ago. Former French Open finalist for variety's sake. And then has battled, shoulder injury last year, thigh injury in January, dropped to 160 in the world, not because she doesn't know how to play, because she hasn't been able to be on the court. She went through a draw in Berlin. Keys, she beat Sabalenka 2-4. I don't remember the last time I saw Sabalenka get beat like that badly, especially on a surface that does her favors. Vondroušová, I mean, is she top 6 to 8 favorites, even at 75 in the world, JW?
She did. I feel like there's like a Czech theme. There's like an omnibus Czech theme here. That flat hitting. Lehechka, we can talk about Petra Kvitova, who will be playing her final Wimbledon, won this twice. The defending champion, Barbara Krejcikova, is Czech. And so is Vondroušová, who won 2 years ago. Muhova as well, if you want to keep going with this. But no, Vondroušová, players don't forget how to play tennis, and they're human beings. They go through some personal issues, as Vondroušová has. Tennis players are human beings. Their bodies, they're not robots. Their bodies can break down, as Vondroušová has. Players aren't winning these events by fluke, and she's got a ton of talent. She's an athlete. She's left-handed. She's got that dangerous serve. You don't win Wimbledon because 7 players lay down and you breezed your way to the final. So now that she's healthy and winning matches again, I mean, those score lines were, that's a wild run, really, for any player, beating the number 1 player in the world who's pretty good on grass, giving her 6 games. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the real virtues of tennis, how quickly you can, whether it's Bublik, whether it's slumping Carlos, we should all be concerned about. He's too emotionally immature, and now he's going for his 6th major. or whether it's Vondroušová, who now seems to be healthy and back to playing ball. Don't fall asleep on these players. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. You think anybody wants to face her?
I don't know.
She won this tournament 2 years ago.
Here's a good question. If I give you JW right now, and we don't know the draw, so take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, if she draws Sabalenka again for whatever it is, but just no draw. If I give you 8 women players to win Wimbledon right now after her performance in beating Keys and beating Sabalenka and all of the things, is she one of your top 8? Draw sight unseen right now.
Yeah, I mean the most important category I'd like to cheat is health. Is Muhova 100%, 80%?
Even so, she doesn't have the matches.
I think, I think you win a Wimbledon tune-up on grass. You're the you've 2 years ago you're the champion, and you put together a week like she did. Yeah, I don't think they're. I mean, we'll see with the odds makers. They're not 8 players I would pick ahead of her. Put it that way.
I think that's right. And the other thing. And you mentioned the flat ball. She hits that little Rafa hook shot lefty to get out of trouble also. And it kind of works on grass because it's tailing away. But the other thing that Vondroušová has is her game is so unique with the way she serves and kind of plays inside out lefty, which isn't something that you're used to. She has the game where she kind of not dissimilar, not the same type of style, but the same type of game where if Krejcikova finds it, she's not scared to play the top players. Like something about their games translates to, okay, when I'm not confident, I can lose to players that are below me. It's not that kind of grinded out game where, we're going to play. It's like the anti-Coco Golf. She finds a way through matches early in tournaments. But if they find it, they match up well against the top players, right? And that's a big if. It's Stan Wawrinka, right? Like he wasn't Murray as far as consistency, but when he finds his top level, he took the racket out of Novak's hand twice in Grand Slam finals. I didn't have that gear. I was going to beat every person ever ranked 25 to 70, and I was going to find a way through it, but I didn't have the ability to level up, when I had to with the backhand and with my deficiencies to go take the racket out of someone's hand past a serve, where I had to serve perfectly, right? But I still had to break sometimes. Vondroušová, Krejcikova, when they level up, I don't know. I value them really well against the top 5 players. So really, really good week. Great week for the qualifier. Wong also gave Vondroušová everything she could handle in that final. Great week for her. McCartney Kessler.
Oh,
played her way into was it Nottingham? Not the 250 was in Nottingham. Yeah. Beat Katie Bolter in the semis. 2-time defending champion. Sramkaba in the final. Played her way into a Wimbledon seed.
That's crazy.
There's a theme. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
You want to wait? I can't wait. I'm eager to empty the bucket on McCartney Kessler.
Okay.
Get this. Played at the University of Florida and a bit of a late bloomer, not someone the USTA was going to tell you was going to be seated at Wimbledon in her mid-20s in 2025. So last year she broke through. I think she had to qualify, won that Cleveland event on the eve of the US Open, goes to Australia, wins that Hobart event on the eve of Australia. And here we are, a week out of Wimbledon, and she has won another title. She is a dangerous player when majors arrive. But no, I mean, it's a great story. I mean, this is not someone whose name we necessarily heard a lot about in the last year or so. Look at her results. She's won a lot of matches on a lot of surfaces and a lot of circumstances. And, it's easy given the density. We have 2 straight Americans winning majors. It's easy for other players to sort of get lost in the shuffle a little bit. Keep an eye on McCartney Kessler, especially on grass.
Yeah. And the other thing, just having watched her over the last year, she is a responsible competitor. She competes her ass off, and you look at her and you're like, oh, she's not going to go away. Like every match, she is a professional. And I don't know that that's something learned normally in college, but she skipped a step. It wasn't as if, we go from here to, and then we have to figure it out. And I don't know the history of that. I'm just saying, as I'm looking at it in present day, she's going to go out, play a good match, be mentally responsible, and you're going to have to go out and beat her. And another theme from this week, and Mike, I know you got something on this, is playing your way into position. Bublik not winning Halle and being 60 in the world. that can be the difference between drawing Alcaraz first round at Wimbledon and setting yourself up for a round of 16 quarterfinal run, which then, projects itself into the next 12 months of your life. Same with Kessler, played her way into a seated position. And then there was some jockeying for position also. Who was it? It was Draper and Fritz, Mike?
Correct. Yeah. Draper achieved a career high ranking number 4. He's joins Andy Murray and Tim Henneman as top 4 seeds in Wimbledon Open era history for British men. So, and then I believe Fritz jumped up. John, what was that on Taylor Fritz moving up?
Moving.
I was looking at these. I was looking at these rankings though. Yeah, Fritz is 5. So there's like 3,000 points roughly separating Carlos at number 2 from Zverev at number 3, and then Zverev has like 2,000 points over number 4. The difference between Draper and Fritz is 15 points. That ain't a lot. That's like first round of a tiny event. That's what's separating the 4 and the 5 seed. Sometimes we can read too much into this, but I don't know. I mean, Andy, what do you think? I mean, sometimes there can be a real difference between a 4 and a 5 seed in terms of how the draw breaks out.
Oh yeah. I mean, you look at for you chuckers who are, just discovering our great sport. 4 basically means that you're not going to have to play a Chucky Alcaraz sinner until semis. It just opens up every phase of the draw, where 5, all of a sudden you're looking at quarters, round 16, whatever it is. It makes a huge difference with seeding. Going into the week, I think Draper knows that he's on the cusp of it. Maybe he gets over that hump in the semis, and it's like you tell me at the beginning of the week, if you're Draper and you make a final of Queens and you stay at 5, or you make the semis and you get bumped up to 4 at Wimbledon, we're not supposed to say it. I put a lot more of a premium on that being seated in the top 4, especially when you haven't been there before. So there are all these kind of games within the games when you're going through a week. Draper 4, Fritz 5. Fritz, we think that he's kind of getting back on Stuttgart, beats Zverev, wins a title. And I think everything he does, it wouldn't shock me to see him at the tail end of Wimbledon. I think he's really, really good on grass. I think the majority of his titles in his career so far have been on grass.
Right.
We were the biggest one. But the match against Mute, I watched it. It wasn't. There's still something to be found before Wimbledon for him.
Who's got the Google machine? Because I believe not only is Fritz playing this week. We talk about this a lot. I mean, Taylor Fritz loves his matches. He's playing this week, and I check me on this. Does he not play Fonseca first round?
The draw's not out. Oh, in Eastbourne?
Yeah, in Eastbourne.
He is. Correct. On Wednesday.
So imagine that. So you win a title on grass. Okay, good. We're resetting. We're back on grass. We're out of clay. I beat Zverev. Great. He's probably a little bit, he's mentally fried. He's traveling, loses to Mutet, and then plays a third event in the 3 weeks between these, and he gets Fonseca right off the bat. Interesting. Different players have different scheduling needs, but that's a lot of drama for Keep in mind, like Novak isn't playing at all. Alcaraz will do 1 week, looks pretty good, and now he tries to defend his title for a second time. Fritz had a very different approach to scheduling, and
he's a worker bee though. Like he's always done it that way. He likes playing. He likes. I mean, this is a choice at this point. It's not something he has to do. He doesn't have to play a 250 the week before a slam, but who are we to? I don't know. That's
whatever works. No.
That's his process. It's tough to argue with at this point with the success that he's had in his career. I could almost make the argument, though, when you get a big-time matchup like that, it could work both ways. Like, if you lose, I mean, you're searching a little bit, but that can be fixed with a good draw in the first couple of rounds. There's going to be some hype around that match. There's going to be some energy around it. Like, you get through that one, that's almost, I would be pitching it as like a pretty good opportunity. Like, we came here to get these reps that will mimic Wimbledon, right? This energy set that will, you get a little buzz in the air. Like, I could sell that if I was a coach. I could spin that as a good situation. All right.
Before you move on though, on the women's side, actually looking this up, Paolini climbed up to number 4, securing a top 4 seed.
Pow.
And Quinn Nguyen dropped to number 5, but they're only separated. If the WTA website's updated, they're only separated by 3 points.
That's quite a conditional you put on that.
That's pretty exciting to track that. I mean, it's
right.
Yeah, somebody pretty new to the sport. I've never really thought about the significance of those seeding, especially these events compound, leading into these.
We're carrying a lot of water for these lazy. Every point counts. You do the next point. It all matters.
It's kind of crazy.
I know.
Though.
I know, but then it's going to be like we're gonna have someone asking a question at Wimbledon, which my Wimbledon press conferences are like my favorite, because you'll have 10 journalists like John who could recite the top 100 backwards if they needed to, and then you have 20 British journalists who are only coming to ask what your favorite flavor of seltzer water is. Like it's the greatest mix
Black cherry.
of. Yeah, like yes, right. It's like, and
What about your favorite Olipop flavor?
No, you walk into the press conference, and they kind of like it. They don't huddle together. Like you have the 10 serious ones in one spot, and maybe it's changed, and then you have all the guys who still call rallies volleys and pronounce laver laver over on one side of the room, and it's kind of this weird, like one subset is going to be for Tennis Channel and the New York Times and all of these reputable places, and one is going straight to the Daily Mail. One is going straight trashy.
We should do a whole episode on this. The other one I like is the guys that are working on a specific story. So like Carlos walks in, Carlos Alcaraz going for a third straight title, and the first question is like, what do you think of Kyle Edmund's comeback chances? Like the guy's just like working on a very specific British story.
Yeah. Or I got in trouble one year with not trouble, but I could kind of see where it was going. You'll get like the person who already has their story written about you or about something to do with you, and they'll come in and they'll ask questions, and they'll re-ask the question just because they need a certain type of quote from you to finish their story. And the one that I remember, and we can either we'll take JW's advice on this, but I remember Christine Brennan one year. I snapped against Tipsarevic or someone, and I'll get, maybe it was a different meltdown, but basically I got into an argument with a female umpire, right? And then you could already tell her story was written that, she was trying to make it like I got upset because it was a female umpire and I would have acted differently. And I'm sitting here going, like, she asked 2 questions and I kind of, not even avoid, because I literally, what she was insinuating was 1000% wrong. And so I finally said, Christine, I know the story you're trying to write here. I go, but like, be sure to include the fact that I have embarrassed myself many, many times arguing with male umpires. And this might be the first time in my entire career that I've argued with a female umpire. So like, the scale and data set does not support your article. So if you write it, someone else needs to write this part of our conversation. So you can kind of feel sometimes who's going after what story. And it's like, they already have it written. Probably the framework, and JW, maybe you pitch in here, not that you would ever do this, but you have the framework written and you just need that little sprinkle of a quote. And I would be damned if I was going to give it to someone who had a pre-written story.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is just like we need subtitles. This is like a foreign language you're speaking. We should seriously, we should do a whole episode on how bizarre these press conferences are. Let's not, but the one thing I will say, they're all transcribed. So in theory, and now I plan to do this, I can go back and see your entire response. So if nothing else, you can, there's a written record here. We've memorialized this exchange.
Yeah, we'll see.
Christine Brennan, Caitlin Clark book coming out.
Cool.
Nice plug to a friend. But anyway, no, I think you're right. I mean, these fishing expeditions, I don't know. Well, we should really save this because it's actually kind of fascinating. This is how tennis gets in the world. How's that?
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna just say real quick, and there are ebbs and flows, and just because I had an issue in a 5-minute or 3-minute interaction with Christine Brennan doesn't mean we didn't have a very responsible media player relationship for a long time. I argued with John 23 years ago in like a side hallway. So shit comes, shit goes. Like you have conversations, you move on. That's all part of the game. I think that if there's a base level of respect, I can think someone's story is bullshit, and I can also think that they do a good job at scale. So let's leave that. There on the side for now. One thing real quick, Mike, before we get to your trip to Wimbledon for the first time.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, I have the most important thing I've ever told you in the history of this show. We'll get to it after a break, but also just a quick report card on injuries. We're at the midway point of the season, and then we'll hit a break real quick before I tell Mike the most important thing that I've ever told him. Casper Ruud pulling out with a knee injury. I said yesterday on TC Live, someone basically saying, well, he's hitting again. Should he try to play? No. His upside is limited on grass. You're setting up the rest of your season. He limped to the finish line against Borges. I gave him credit for not bagging it and actually, playing out the last 4 or 5 games. I don't even know that he should have done that. It grew my respect for him. I opened a show with it during Roland Garros. Out with a knee injury. Hope he gets better. Artur Feast, this is concerning. A fracture or stress fracture in his back. And by the way, he got accused of faking it at the French Open when he beat Munar in 5 sets. That's a rough one.
L5 vertebrae.
That is bad. Just so we're clear, like when you're as physical and as electric and as good as he is, the back stuff's tough to get away from. It's not as if you can adjust technique to hide from rotation on that situation. Sebastian Korda, it just sucks because he's so good. And it just feels like he just is kind of like the stop and start thing. I just hate it because I think he's a top 10 talent, top 5 talent. And it just seems like every time he starts, then there's like a hiccup again. And this time it's the shin. And I just hope he gets better. I have so much fun watching him. I like Sebastian Korda. I think he's a gentleman. And I hope he gets better soon. Tommy Paul, not playing Queens. We knew that he was dealing with something during the French Open. Still just assholes and elbows to get to the quarterfinals there of just blood and guts, and got run out of the room by Alcaraz. But I just think it was amazing. The 21-year-old version of Tommy Paul would have been in awe, and rightfully so, of what we saw from Tommy Paul at Roland Garros. With his toughness, the tough side of that is those decisions sometimes have a tail. Had to skip Queens, won it last year, went from 8 in the rankings down to 12, 13, I'd guess, something around there, by virtue of losing those 500 points. I hope he's back and healthy. We have heard nothing yet, but he's a real threat at Wimbledon if he's healthy. You just hope he can get back in time. Not just healthy, but healthy in time to prepare and practice and not lose fitness from having to kind of stay away from an ab injury. We're going to go to break. On the other side of break, I'm going to tell producer Mike the most important thing that I've ever told him on this podcast. Thanks for listening to Served. All right, welcome back to Served. Mike, I need your full attention.
Okay. You're going to. I'd be looking at.
You're going to Wimbledon.
Yep.
With your brother.
Yes.
Just total bro fest. Best time ever.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Entering the hallowed grounds for the very first time. You wake up in the morning, you have that feeling, that anticipation. You're going to one of the most special places on earth. Now, if I can make a suggestion.
Please.
On the way in or on the way out. You're going to walk through Wimbledon Village because you have to. It's the best. It's one of my favorite walks. Walk from a rented house, walk into town, get your coffee. Every day of my Wimbledon life, I had something to look forward to, Mike. And it was the tennis, it was the grass, it was the smells, it was all the things. It was also lunch. All right? Maison Saint-Cassien. In the middle, where the one road meets the split in the road as you're walking towards Wimbledon. You are going to go in there, Mike. Are you listening?
I'm listening. I'm writing it down.
Marco's going to take care of you. You're going to walk in there. You're going to walk in, and there's a sandwich, a sub on a French baguette, if you will. but it's kind of like a Lebanese situation. It's the best. Everything's flavored perfectly, got a little bit of spice to it. There's this chicken that I would punch a wall and risk injury for right now, but they also bring in a little mozzarella cheese and they kind of pack it in perfectly. Did I deal with the food upstairs? No, I got one of those things. Did a little tucky magoo right into my locker. Right after practice every day, I knew it was waiting for me. You are going to go there and you are going to do that. Otherwise, I'm retiring this show.
I mean, honestly, that was one of the questions I had.
Good
One
job.
of the questions was, what is the hole-in-the-wall food place I have to try right outside the gates?
And then I don't know. Maybe you'll get some other stuff. Maybe you'll get some salad. Maybe you'll get there's a breakfast there too. But they'll give you a to-go sandwich. I don't know, but you have to do it. Otherwise, you're an idiot.
Wait, say that again. What's for the masses and for me?
Maison c'est Cassien. Right there, Lebanese situation. Like it's literally right. I don't know the streets. I don't know the names of the streets. JW, you'll know. But like when you're walking from like the tube side down the hill, and you walk through that main runway towards Wimbledon, and you take a right towards the court, so you go left kind of towards Wimbledon Commons. It's literally you'll run right into it if you walk through that intersection. It is perfect. This sandwich is perfect. It's a perfect sandwich
On High Street.
Oh God,
High Street Wimbledon. All right.
Right at Church Road, and
I wish if it was injectable, I would take it. I'm just telling you.
I mean, I love a sandwich.
Oh, it's such a good sandwich. You know, if you eat it 4 days in a row, you might have to, visit the. But anyways, go ahead, JW.
Man, that's a good tip. I was gonna go rhubarb. No, I mean honestly, like just step back. Have you ever encountered someone who's gone to Wimbledon and said, "Man, didn't live up to the hype"? I mean, this place is pure magic. Nobody goes and walks away disappointed, and we can talk about why. I have my own pet theory. I can hot take you on, but no, you'll have a great time. You can't go wrong. I like the call. Go through Wimbledon Village, which is really charming.
You have to walk down, and it's like it's a little bit of a walk.
That sets me up for a question. We're staying in Hyde Park, and the first day, Andy helped me secure some tickets. First day, we have just grounds passes, so we're going to. Which is
great. First week.
How should I come in? Should I Uber or should I take the tube? Tell me what is the ideal way to get in and when I should leave.
You guys are good to walk, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so tube it in. You take out all the others. You got to tube it in. You're going to go to Wimbledon Station. It's at the bottom of the hill. Okay, since it's not dinner time, you're not going to go to San Lorenzo down at the bottom of the hill. Otherwise, you would go to San Lorenzo.
I don't know if San Lorenzo is a going concern anymore. It is. They're
2025. I thought it would wrap too, and I looked it up. It might be reopened. JW.
It's the Markéta Vondroušová of Italian eateries. That's a nice comeback. We like that.
I hope so. I hope it is. I looked up this morning, and it said it didn't say go away.
I'm happy to hear that. All right.
Yeah. So you go to the bottom. Okay. You walk up the hill. It's not a nothing walk, and then you get to the top of Wimbledon Village, and you'll see it. Everyone kind of flow stating towards Wimbledon. It's like you're part of people who are as excited as you are. You walk through Wimbledon Village, get a coffee, but then that's your stop, and then you get the flow of traffic. Everyone's excited. You'll walk through the neighborhood. You'll get to the top of the crest, and then you get this little peekaboo view of the last courts at Wimbledon, and you kind of look, and you see that magical stadium just off in the distance. You have to do the walk through Wimbledon Village. Take a right when you get to the dead end, left at the next roundabout. It's just the best. Just the best.
What about you, JW? When was the first time you went to Wimbledon? Was it as a journalist or as a fan?
Yeah, no, I never went as a fan. So I don't know. I think it was the year Pete beat Rafter. What was that? 2000. I mean, my whole thing on Wimbledon is it's great, it's meticulous, it's magical, but it's also they've got these minor league baseball game touches. So note what isn't there. It's not what people think. Everyone thinks, I need to wear a 3-piece suit, and it's cool. You sit up on the hill, there's alcohol flows, people wear t-shirts and sandals. It's not what people necessarily think it is watching on TV.
It's not the Kentucky Derby.
Exactly.
It's not this weird. Yeah.
See, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, how buttoned up do we need to be?
Tux.
Full
tux. Yeah. Full tails. Do you have tails?
I wish I would have told you to wear something stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah. I definitely would not have done that.
Oh, you didn't hear that? This year, actually, it's a purple theme, so everyone goes to the gates has to wear purple.
Grimace.
The
McDonald's also sponsor me.
Keep in mind too. Note, I always tell people to do this. Note what it lacks. Right. So you're watching the NBA Finals, and Oklahoma City plays at some corporate sponsored, whatever it's called, pay.com.
That's a good point.
There's no, the corporate sponsorship is absolutely minimal. Center court is just called center court. It's not sponsored. Strawberries and cream are like £2.50, right? They're like $3. They're not gouging you with their concessions. There's no t-shirt cannon. Like, they don't go for the cheap stuff, but it's not like, and also like the US Open has like a tequila sponsor and a mezcal and an agave sponsor.
There actually is a t-shirt cannon at the US Open, just to be clear. It's like it's t-shirt cannon, and it's like a 4th of July parade every night when they open the tennis.
I always say to Henman, I'm like, imagine the money you're leaving on the table. There are no corporate suites. People wait in that line, in the famous queue, and then they get in and they pay like $30 to sit courtside. It's not so good. It's real mix of kind of like the merchant class meets the Savannah Banana. Like, there is this real populist element to it. Note the golf course across the way, because it's only a matter of time before Wimbledon colonizes that, and the space
they just fixed your corporate thing, by the way, with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just so we're clear.
That's a good point.
Which is great, because you don't have to stare it in the face. It's like across the street. It's fantastic. Like, everything Wimbledon does, not to cut you out, Jado, it's like they have fully secured this tradition and all of the special things about tradition, but also they're not stuck in the mud. They're complete. Like, it's the new buildings are like pretty contemporary looking, but they're green and they have ivy, and it's like this mix of the new and building this prestigious championship for the next 100 years, not for the past 100 years, but also marrying the history with the path forward. No notes. And that sounds like it might be an easier thing to do. Impossible with venues like Wimbledon. And they get it perfect. They get it perfect. It's just perfect chef's kiss. They rarely make bad decisions. And what you're saying, it's like, you go and cut off shorts and Tevas and rip 17 beers. There's a place for you at Wimbledon. Don't ever think there's not. Henman Hill is amazing. Grounds passes week 1. I don't know. Like, you watch some matches, but take it all in. It is fantastic. Then you go to center court, and everything about center court is this protected experience where you feel like you're walking backwards in time in all the best ways. And the silence is deafening in there. It's like their ultimate sign of respect, where you've gotten their attention, is that hushed silence as something. It's so cool. It's the best. I love it. I can't wait. I can't talk about it in a
besides center court,
rational way.
Besides center court, is there like another court, besides the main courts, that I should be sure to go, that the energy is really always high?
Yep. JW, you want to take this obvious one?
I don't know. I'd say court 18. Yeah, I'd say 18. Yeah, which is where, remember John Isner had that 11-year match. You can sit really close, and like, you'll notice the grass, and you'll see, it's different from a putting green, but it's not what I have in my lawn. Like, you're right there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 18's a gem.
18's the win. You have to go to Henman Hill and just find a spot and take in that situation where you're basically just watching a screen. So I actually love that you have grounds passes one day and then center court tickets the next day, because the grounds pass day is going to offer you something completely independent as far as experience, which is awesome, and also completely different than what you're going to get the next day, which is the center court experience. And they're two totally different experiences, and they're both 12 out of 10. Like, phenomenal. And I'm actually, JW, I'm going to be on site for the first time there, and I don't know how long, decade or something.
Nice.
On the Saturday, Sunday, and I'm doing what Mike's doing. One day, I'm doing the old center court situation, and the next day, I think we're just going to get some grounds passes and just rip it around. I'm going to be Joe fan and and just kind of dip into all the things that I haven't done in 25 years.
That's so cool.
Walk around. It's yeah. Now forget it. Give away your tickets. Go to the Eye of London. It's like a big Ferris wheel. It's really cool. That's a joke. No, you cannot go wrong. But yeah, wander around. I mean, there are all these little pockets and nooks and
God, no brainer. You have to go check out the viewing spots on Orangi Park in the practice facility. Like, you got to go there. You can see it's just basically a field where they've put up nets, and they use it basically so you're not putting wear and tear on the courts. So it's not like the other courts where you just sweep it and water it on clay and it's back to, perfect, or on concrete where you don't really have to do any of that. You can't have every player, 600 players in a draw, ripping apart grass courts because there's like a shelf life, right? There needs recovery time. So Orangi Park, but you can it looks like a normal park, right? You can watch Novak hitting next to Saba, hitting next to, you got to sneak down there. If you arrive early, you hit that first before right as the matches start, you're going to see people going through their practices, warming up for matches. Like, that is a 12 out of 10 also. God, I'm so jealous.
It's going to be great. And
cool.
We have nothing else to do while we're over there. It's purely just going there and hanging out.
JW, can you, we're media. Can you coach old producer Mike on how to get a media credential?
I was going to say, you got to put in for a credential. You can see all the catacombs. There are all these tunnels.
I should apply.
Wait, seriously, when you get there though, I try to give people this tour too. If you go to the media center, go to the roof. It's like you can see London, but you can also see over the courts, the roof of the media center. I'll hook you up with that. I'm not good for much. That I can hook you up.
Go in and say this, Mike, and try to keep a straight face. You ready? Go in and say this. Okay, go in. JW is going to help you. You're at the application process. You're about to get a credential. Go in and say, "Hi, I'm producer Mike. I'm part of the media. I'm on a podcast called Served, and we're not a joke. I should be able to get a credential."
We have merch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then try to sell. Yeah, exactly. And then try to sell them a T-shirt. See how that goes. That's gonna be great.
Lean back. I see the Served merch. Lean back. There we go.
I'll just wear this.
They do know who I am.
Yeah, definitely wear the hat. Just wear the hat. You should get a. You should actually just get a hat that says producer Mike on it and just be real shameless. Just do that. All right, I got nothing else for this week.
This is exactly what I wanted from you guys. By the way, this is awesome.
Perfect.
Just talking about the experience gets me excited to be there. I haven't been there in too long. I can't wait. It's the best. Well, during the tournament, I went last year to the club just for an afternoon to just hit balls. Just to hit balls. Hit balls and have lunch. It was the best. Ugh. Makes my heart sing. Anyways, this has been Served. We will be back on, I don't know, we'll get the show out late Friday. Okay, so we're going to wake up early on Friday, do our draw show where I'm the most uninformed person on earth when we start the draw show and just slightly less uninformed when we finish it. This has been Served. We'll see you later this week on the draw show. Producer Mike, Techie Sean, JW, Theo.